Day one. Marge says, hey. Hey says Marge. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, day one on getting our paper wet, people. The official thing starts today, so let's go. If you were here day zero, you're ahead of the game. Okay, how's that feel? You're ahead for once. That feels good, don't it? Good to be ahead. All right, let's go ahead and check on our internal locus. Is it strong? You stoking that fire? You got that critical eye locked in the hole? Shove that motherfucker down in the hole and lock it. Lock it. Lock it. You got your schedule all lined up. You're 30 minutes now. 30 minutes for 30 days. Let's go. Let's do this. 30 minutes for 30 days. That's all we're talking about. No big deal. Take some time for yourself to knock this paper getting wet watercolor out of the park. Let's go. Few announcements before we get rolling here, okay? So on Saturday, I think I'm going to do live streams on Discord, okay? And we'll take questions and do demonstrations and all that kind of stuff and kind of just make it like a chill thing to hang out, to if something ain't clicking in your head, let's talk about it and just get it knocked out right then and there. And if you can't make it on the live stream, don't worry. We'll record it and I'll post it on Discord or put it in one of the rooms or something. I'm still learning all about that Discord now, okay? So, and any suggestions you got, throw them my way. I'm open to hear. All right. Go join the Discord, people. I have it right here on my notes that says join the Discord. Join it. All right. Fantastic. We got more interviews coming. Got some scheduled. Looking forward to it. We're talking to creative people about creativity. Okay? Now, creativity isn't just in art. It's not just in drawing. Creativity is in everything. It could be a mechanic who is going home on the weekends and trying to turn his V8 into a V300. You know, he's got them pipes coming out his hood and blowing fire. Now that's creative, okay? Or maybe you're a seamstress at home and you're making a new type of Chanel pantsuit or whatever. These are all creative endeavors, okay? So these are the people we're looking to talk to. Now, if you do have any suggestions on who I should talk to, throw them at me, because I'm all ears. You know, I'm adding it to the list. Okay? All right. Also, we were talking about organization of thought the other day in the Discord. How about that? So we were talking about it, and I shared my strategy for all the ideas that I have and how I handle that. Because I got a ton of ideas about all kinds of stuff flowing through my head like crazy all the time. Sometimes, I don't know if it's good, superpower, or if it's a bad distraction. I don't know. But I've turned it into a superpower. And this is how I've done it, okay? I got a notebook system. And here they are right here. Here's my notebook system, people. Okay? I got stickers on them so I can identify what's what. This is for my writing. It's a little tiny moleskin notebook, all right? Writing ideas go in here, okay? Then long-term goals and whatnot go in here, okay? Help keep me on track. The day-to-day stuff goes in here. Love the moleskin, soft cover moleskin, so nice. Gridded, of course, you know, all that good stuff. So if I have to do a layout or a design or have a check boxes or whatever, goes in there easy. Boom, right there. And of course, any sketches, ideas or whatever, or watercolor sketchbook goes in the watercolor sketchbook, obviously. Or the pen and ink. This thing also takes marker and gouache, so that makes it real easy. I only have to have one. Okay, now outside of the sketches, you know, come my designs for things like stickers or even bigger things that go and turn into paintings, you know, or other things that are bigger, comic books, whatever. They all start in my sketchbook and they grow out of there. Okay, now I keep a year's worth of my sketchbooks and my notebooks and whatever on the shelf. Okay, at the end of the year, I take them out of the shelf, I put them in the box, date, all that kind of stuff, put the box in the closet or storage or whatever the hell it is, okay? That's how you do it. Now, your creativity is the load on the train, right? Your organization are the train tracks, okay? Got to have good organization, got to have good logistics, or you get all constipated with your ideas. And then you try to keep them all in your head and you can't do it, and then you got the wrong ones interrupting you when you're trying to do the other ones and whatnot, and then it becomes like this cacophony of chaos. You don't want that. Leave the cacophony to the birds, the ravens. They got it out there. You hear them. I can hear them right there. They're all yelling. They want me to feed them some more. Not going to happen, guys. You got your food for the day, okay? Leave me alone. And you say the same thing to your thoughts. See how that works? Just think about your thoughts like ravens. Sometimes you love them. You want them to come around. Other times you want them to get the fuck out of here. Leave you alone. Well, leave me alone. All right. So I think that's all we got to say about the old announcements, okay? Now, I wanted to move on to something that stokes my fire, okay? Now, I remember when I was first thinking about all this storytelling business, right? I never really wanted to get in the computer because I love traditional artwork. I love traditional painting. I love oils. That's what I mainly used to do. Landscapes, and then portraits, and I would do gouache. And of course, I've always loved watercolor with pen and ink and things of that nature. Well, then the whole comic book thing, independent comic book, kind of blew up when I noticed that on YouTube there was crowdfunding. People were able to be independent and crowdfund their own ideas, and I love that idea. I never thought that comic book was viable for me personally because I always wanted to produce my own ideas, my own artwork, and I didn't really consider it as a career because I loved the landscape painting, I love the portrait painting, I love all that kind of stuff. I love the pursuit of art excellence. I love that, you know. And John Singer Sargent, Isaac Levitan, Ilya Repin, things along those lines. You know, I love that kind of stuff, right? And then I saw how crowdfunding was going around 2018, 19, 20, and how big it had gotten for you to produce your own artwork, your own stories, your own comics. And I was like, wow, I really love that. Your own graphic novels. Because I had stories coming out of my ears and I just didn't know where to put them, right? Because I had to get another notebook for that. So then I came across Enemy Ace. Now this right here is Enemy Ace by George Pratt. And it is a graphic novel, comic book story, and it's called Enemy Ace. And it's about an enemy ace in World War I. Okay? Now that is produced by DC Comics in 1990. So all the way back then in 1990. Now, the significance of this Enemy Ace is that it's all done in watercolor. George Pratt did all of it in watercolor. So as soon as I came across this, I knew it's possible. Okay? And so that's what got me started on watercolor from an illustrative standpoint. And I thought, oh wow, this could really be possible. And so let me share some of the artwork from inside Enemy Ace. Now this is one of the pages that you see upon opening the book. Now the very interesting thing about this image is how striking it is, because you have a man on horseback looking at an airplane. So it's the technology versus the old world. It's a very strong statement about how society is burgeoning on the growth of technology in war and combat, the wartime combat. Fantastic concept. You flip the page again and you got this double page splash page spread of a dogfight in the World War I aircraft. Now, how great is that? Okay. And then let's go on and see some of the interiors. And you got these fantastic aerial dogfights. Just excellent. And all done in watercolor. And how great is that? George Pratt really killed it. Okay. And I'm flipping ahead a little further, and you got some more. There's plenty of dogfights, all kinds of action in this here comic or graphic novel. I don't know. It's probably a graphic novel because it's just one story. And it's awesome. And of course, it's not all about dogfights and whatever. It's about other things too. But it's very striking. It's a very striking book. It's a very striking work. And I love the fact that he did it all in watercolor. Now, that got me thinking about some other things. And I went researching and I came across that there's other books that other artists did. Even as far back as World War II, a lot of the Germans went out and they actually painted the battlefields. So I thought that was fantastic. And I don't have any of those books at my fingertips right now, but as soon as I pull them out of storage, I'll show them off. Fantastic artist, and just very inspirational. You know, they stoke your fire. What I did here unknowingly was I found somebody who'd already gone where I wanted to go. So what I would say to you is seek out people who have already gone where you want to go. Don't reinvent the wheel. You know, there's no glory in that. Make it as easy as possible for yourself. Look to people who have already solved the problems that you're endeavoring to broach, that you're trying to come across, that you're trying to get over. Look for people who've already crossed that chasm and they've done it successfully. And then go ahead and use them to mentor you. You know, they don't even have to be alive. You don't have to know them. Get their work, you know, get their work and use their work to teach you so that you can go ahead and quickly adopt the solutions and maybe put your own tweaks on it and then go further. And that crosses over from artwork to cooking to fashion design to mechanical design, everywhere you want to go. Video game design, floral design. Find a body of work from somebody, adopt it, learn their principles, and then go further. Use them, use their shoulders to stand upon, and go further. Ask yourself this question: what is it in my life that I want? And then find those people. Always ask yourself questions. When you're doing artwork, ask yourself, is this too thick? Is this too thin? Is this too light? Is this too dark? Is this color too warm? Is it too cool? And then carry that thought process out to everything else. Is this sauce too spicy? Does it need more salt? Does it need to be thicker? Does it need to be sweeter? Does it need more meat? Does it not need more meat? Does this engine need more power? And hell, most of the time, if you even ask yourself the question, that's your answer. Okay? If you even have to ask the question, that is your answer. All right? And then make the agreement with yourself to be honest above all else. Be honest with yourself above all else. And you won't be steered wrong. Now, this is the foundation to make that critical eye your ally. This is the foundational piece. Okay? So let's go forward and do that. Think about that, okay? Don't reinvent the wheel. There's no glory in it. Adopt it, go further. Stand on the shoulders, and then use your voice to say something special. Use your voice to say something new that's specific only to you. Okay? So let's do that. All right. So yesterday, we did gradients. Okay, people? Let me see if I can't find my gradient real quick. Yesterday we did these gradients, if you remember. Now the gradients were to get you used to watercolor, paper moisture, the saturation of the water in the paper and in the brush, the chroma, the amount of concentration of pigment on your brush, and how to control that on the paper, as well as the use of your tape. Now I had a couple people tear their paper, and hey, I've been there, I've done that. But that's why we started with this little tiny stuff. Because if you tear it, it ain't no big deal. Now, how would you feel if you spent, 9 hours with a painting and then you tear the hell out of it? I've been there. It's not fun. And you get all bent out of shape about it. You know what I mean? Now, you take the tape and you dab it. You can dab it a couple of times on your clothes, as a matter of fact, if you want to make it less tacky. You put the tape down on your page. Now, when you're going to rip the tape off, rip it at an extreme angle, okay? Don't hold it over. Rip it at an angle like this. See how I'm ripping it? I'm ripping it at a 90-degree angle, right at the... And that's how you don't tear your page, okay? Don't try to lift it directly up off your page, because it'll rip. It will do that. But, so we did the gradients yesterday, and that was great. Now today what I want you to do is I want you to take the gradients a step further, and I want you to do color swatches. Now what does that mean? What do color swatches mean? I want you to lay down a solid stripe of half of your colors, okay? Vertically. And then paint them on there, and then lay your tape down going horizontally, but leave a space in between each one, okay? and then take the other half of your palette and go and paint in the horizontal lines. And at these intersections, you'll get overlap. And the overlap is the combination of those two colors. Okay? That's what I want you to do. Now, of course, I only did the complement. This is a complement swatch. I take the warm and I add it to the cool. Okay? And it produces a complement. Now, you can do it with just the warm and the warm. You can do it with the cool and the cool, or you can do it with all your colors. Okay? Now, some people really love doing this kind of thing because it's really neat. Because every one of those colors that you find is a little tool, a little piece of ammunition that you can say, ooh, I really like that color. And this is how I got it. And I'm going to use that color in my next artwork, right? And so you can then see the range of colors that you can produce with your watercolor, and you can take it and use those as the building blocks or the ammunition or whatever you want to call it, and go and use it on your artwork. Now here's what I did with that in mind, okay? Now see, right here is where I used some of my color swatching, the overlays. And I let some of the paint peek out, and some of the other paint is the swatch with the complement. And it makes for a really nice effect, okay? So think about that. Get that done so that you can analyze which ones you like, which colors you like, and which ones that you would like to use in your artwork. And let's get after it, because day 2 is going to be fun. Day 2, we're going to do wet on wet washes. That's tomorrow, okay? So hurry on back. Let's get her done. Use each color like a piece of ammunition for your picture that we're going to do next time, okay? Now tomorrow we're going to do wet on wet. It's going to be exciting. You're going to love it. Hurry on back. Let's get her done. Let's get it going. Stoke that fire.